Good morning, Greene County, and welcome to another huddle. This is our first virtual huddle with 212 being out of commission for a couple of weeks still. My name is Christian Carroll. I'm the Chief Deputy of the Assessor's Office of Greene County. And today it's my pleasure to introduce our wonderful guest today, Mr. Russell Gosselin. Mr. Russell Gosselin is the founder and director of an organization here in Springfield called Elevate Lives. As we have learned from many of our prior huddles, there are many different rungs in the ladder of success to recovery for poverty and homelessness in Springfield and the surrounding areas of Greene County. And Elevate Lives plays a very important role in that ladder to success. It's been my pleasure to get to know Russell over the last couple of years in my role at the Assessor's Office. I was even honored to get to enjoy his grand opening of his new headquarters on Commercial Street, and there's visible proof. See, I'm wearing the same shirt. He is also gotten to know him personally as just a genuinely wonderful person. So he is going to come on and speak today and let us know about his wonderful organization, Elevate Lives. And as we get into that, to kick it off, we're going to watch a little bit of an introductory video, and then we'll hear from Russell.
And into flourishing.
There's some kind of situation where they are saying to themselves, I'll do whatever it takes to see the change that needs to happen. And those in poverty, when they do that, I don't want a single one of them to lose that moment of hope and that willingness to go all in to move forward. That moment of hope doesn't get squashed by the difficulties of life, but rather that there are some people that can come alongside of them, not do it for them, but rather come alongside of them and coach them, provide equipping, provide a stable place that is discounted to where their income level is, that can adjust as they see increases in income.
When I met Russ and Wendy, I was actually living in a domestic violence shelter with my 6 kids. That day, whenever I met you, I wrote in my journal, is this what I was waiting for? In a span of 4 months, I went from having terrible credit, and I had given up hope completely on ever owning a home because of the life that I've lived and the choices I've made. I was able to pay off all of my bad debts and work a plan to not only just pay those off, but be building my credit. And at that 4th month, I was approved or pre-approved to buy a home. Process of looking for that home.
Do what we can to help and truly help. And there's places to end up helping people with a meal, and those kinds of things need to take place. But we want to be the more, the going keeper that really sees those individuals that have that moment of hope, that we end up helping them gain momentum, and then ultimately they mature and can thrive.
Well, good morning, everyone. I'm so glad to be here. I just wanted to give you, first of all, a quick update on Jennifer. That was recorded over a year ago, and since she's graduated, she has actually purchased a home. She's also graduated from nursing school and is an RN and is in an accelerated program to become a nurse practitioner and actually practice medicine. And so it's really exciting to see individuals who were on the brink of eviction every month and in desperate situations really regain their lives and become thriving citizens in our community. And not only experiencing an abundance, thriving in their own lives, but then also caring about others and helping them. I want to talk to you a little bit about Elevate Lives, and of course, poverty, when you think about it, it really is complex. There's it's multifaceted. It is financial, but if you really believe that every person is intrinsically valuable, then poverty is both financial, but it's really about people becoming really all of what their potential is, what they've been created to be. And so we look at poverty as, and once again, there's many aspects of this, but we look at it as people not coming into the fullness of who they are, as well as a financial aspect. And so what we are doing is, and there's quite frankly various ways to help the poor, and there are organizations that are doing that with food and clothing and shelter and the homeless and so forth. But what really engages my heart and why I'm not retired and sitting on a beach somewhere, but rather getting up each day and wanting to invest in people, is that there are individuals last night and again tonight that will be crying out, saying that they are sick and tired of where their life is, and they really, really want to change. They may be Christians and calling out to God for that, but whatever the case is, they're saying, I've tried everything and it just doesn't work, and I am ready for change. And so there are different types of poverty, of course, and our focus really this morning isn't about that. But as you know, there's situational poverty, there's generational poverty, and we could look at those kinds of things. But I want to talk about the other aspect, that when you're working with those in poverty, you've got to think about this aspect. And that's really people's motivation, where they're at in their own lives. We've all dealt with this concept. Maybe it's for guys, we've got to end up going out and cutting the grass, but we really don't want to. And so it goes an extra week and our wives give us a hard time about it. Maybe it's about dieting. We know what we need to do, change a few things about what we're eating, get a little exercise, but we just aren't ready to do that. And that's fine. And there isn't judgment, but we need to understand that concept behind it. We each have free will and we get to make choices. And it's no different amongst those that are in poverty. So there's individuals in poverty that are happy, content maybe where they're at. Things are somewhat okay and going somewhat the way they want to, and that's fine. But that's their choice. And second, there's individuals that maybe aren't happy with where they're at, would want more finances, more things, maybe some better relationships, but they're not quite at the place where they're ready to make a concerted engaged effort in that, because quite frankly, it's going to take some work. And then there's those third category, and these are the ones that we're looking for, is that they are serious about changing whatever it takes and doing the hard work to take steps out of their current situation. So these individuals, they want to learn and change. They are ready to listen and implement what is taught. They're committed, willing to recommit at each difficult level, because you know how it goes. You can be committed to something and you don't realize how intense it's really after 2 months of working at a job, and it's like, no, I really do have to get up this morning and go in, and or whatever the situation is. Well, it's no different amongst our fellow citizens that are in poverty. So there's these decisions along the way of increasing and recommitting at each difficult level. But they need someone or a group to help guide them, because many times, just like in each of our lives, there are things we haven't been taught, maybe growing up, or things that we need to end up learning. It's the same with those in poverty. I call it neighbors helping neighbors. It's a relational approach of those that have learned a few things in life, helping others of our neighbors learn those things in their own life and implementing those things. So our focus is on those that want to learn how to walk into a better life. And every step is to be celebrated at whatever point people are at and whatever steps they're taking. We're grateful for those things, but we believe deeply in this process of helping individuals become healthy, vibrant citizens in our city. They'll be better parents, they'll be better spouses, they'll be more engaged in their schools, but they will be a better citizen in our city. And quite frankly, I just believe that we can have the city that we want. Either individuals just doing their own thing and not caring about others, or growing and engaging and helping others in the process. And so we believe that's for the poor, just like Jennifer, who for years was trapped. And for the most part, many individuals that would have met her in those early days could have thought she's a nice person and a caring person, and maybe she could become this or that. But here she is, about a year away from practicing medicine, and many of us probably wouldn't have imagined that. But just like those of you that are watching this morning and maybe at a later time, the potential within you is phenomenal. And we want to end up seeing amongst the poor people walking into that. So it's not just a process of walking out of poverty, but walking into a fullness of life. Well, you're probably wondering, what is our process? So let me just take a couple minutes and walk through that with you. If you don't mind, I'm going to get a sip of water. Thank you. So there's two main aspects to this. It's first and foremost relational. So we'll talk about that a little bit more in just a minute, but this process is relational. When I'm in groups, speaking before groups of people, usually at this point, I'll ask the crowd, how many of you have, in where you've gotten in life with your career, your family, relationships, how many of you would say that you didn't get there just on your own, but there was one or more key individuals that were that have been in your life and helped you get where you're at? And some 95% of the room at least ends up raising their hand. And of course, that's the case. We don't, even though in America we think of this Lone Ranger mentality, the reality is it's through relationships with us being engaged in the process, but someone believing in us, helping us in the process, and we end up moving into a more fulfilled destiny for our life, so to speak. So relational, but it's also learning is knowing and implementing. So in America, we tend to have more of a classroom type setting for learning. There's a expert, a teacher that is at the front of the room and they share about whatever topic, and we are busy writing notes and such. And so we're learning, we're engaging with that truth, that subject matter. And there are quizzes and tests, and we're to, in essence, regurgitate back what we heard, and we're graded based upon being able to communicate back what was said to us. That could be, could have aspects of learning in it, but real learning, we believe, is both the coming to know something, but also implementing it. And so there's got to be this implementation of the process. So if I'm going to be a doctor, I want to end up knowing about all these bones and stuff, but I've got to know how to implement those things and internalize it. Well, the same thing, these are foundational things for Elevate Lives. Well, how do you get from an individual that's life is in poverty and may have some brokenness and various things and not sure how to get out of that hole? How do you get there from there to an individual that's thriving like Jennifer or many of the others that have gone through Elevate Lives? Well, here's some steps, things that you probably would like to know about Elevate Lives. First of all, I alluded to this already, we look for those that are really serious to change their lives for the better. We call it the 1 in 1,000, maybe 1 in 100. Not everyone's at that point and ready. They may be in months to come, but today, if they're going to be part of Elevate Lives, they need to be ready, because we've all learned this from trying to help an individual we care about, maybe a family member, maybe a distant cousin, whatever the case is. We care about them and we're trying to help them take steps to thrive. And we get frustrated because we, after a while, find out that we're putting in more work than they are. And I say that the medical profession probably understands this better than anyone. They understand that maybe I need a surgery and I can't do that for myself. So there's a doctor that does it. Maybe I need a couple days of recovery in the hospital. I need nurses to help me with that. But it's ultimately me getting better and physical therapy and so forth, and going out and living my best life afterwards. And there's no nurse or doctor that comes in the room after running a mile around the city and comes back in and tells me about how great my run was. It was their run. They can't run my life for me. And so, of course, it's looking for those that really want to change. Second, we provide discounted housing. This provides stability, and it also, it says something, we've learned that it says something in deeply within their heart. We're communicating in the midst of our teaching, and I'll get to that in a minute, but we're communicating their value, and then based upon them being valuable, just like all of us as human beings are, that based upon that foundation, of self-worth, then they can take steps into thriving in various areas of their life, whether it's finances, setting goals, relationships, and so forth. But we've found that this home becomes a constant reminder at a very deep level of their value. And let me show you a few just before and after pictures. So let's just go ahead and thing. So this is, you'll see a before and after. We typically buy or get donated the worst home on the block. And so this house here, you see the yellow is there at the top, and now it's what it is at the bottom there. We've renovated it. When we got this house here, it actually had a roof on it, but it looked pretty rough. And then you see the picture of what it looks like now. This is the before of a kitchen when we purchased the home, or actually this home was donated to us, and what we turned it into. Here's another house that, in fact, this is that one house without the roof on it. This is the after pictures of the kitchen and the bathroom. And so this ends up being, when I say discounted housing, we look at whatever market rate is, and then we discount it based upon where people can afford. And many times that's 50% off. And that's not a very good financial model for making money. But we're investing in people's lives, and that's where they're at. And they'll end up getting promotions and better jobs, and all kinds of things take place as they learn how to do life better. And so with that, then there's a slight increase each time, and they're able to be able to afford closer to market value. We also provide a regular focused training on 7 different areas, and they can be vocational, relational, spiritual, household, personal, financial, and even leadership. This is our closest situation of a classroom setting, but it's very interactive. It starts with a meal. We discuss a topic, and it's very focused. We try and take what would be about 10 years of just doing life and hopefully having some good relationships and learning some things, and compress it down to about a 2-year process, very strategic, very focused on various subjects so that individuals learn how to function well. So one of the examples is we teach people about SMART goals. And with this, I just want to end up saying we can end up maybe allotting 2 or 3 sessions for something, but to remember the definition of learning is knowing and implementing. And so we find that many times on some subjects based upon the group, that there needs to be 2 or 3 more sessions on that for them to really begin to implement it in their life. So it's not just a matter of writing on the chalkboard some subject and information and them putting it in their notes, but it's then homework and implementing that, and being able to start living with those truths. So knowledge is not enough. We got to implement that. Then mentorship is another component of this. This is where there's this one-on-one, an individual who has, is by no means perfect, but has learned some things in life, is connected with one of our family members, participants, and they weekly, at least twice a month, but weekly, engage with them, talk about things. They know where things are at in the classes, and so they're talking about those things as well. There's accountability for growth, and so no one's got to jump the Grand Canyon in one big step, but it's going to be a process of progress. And so when that stalls, we're engaged in talking and finding out what's going on and working through that. And every now and then, there are some that just get to a place that said, this is enough. I've learned enough and I don't want to go any further. Doesn't happen much, but it does happen at times. And so we help them with an exit strategy for that. In the midst of this is accountability. Is really this whole aspect of I'm a learner and a giver. So many times in poverty, people are so desperate that they're just looking to receive. And what we want to do is help them to become thriving citizens. And so healthy citizens and family members both are ones that are learning, but also helping others to learn. They're receiving, but they're also giving. And so this becomes right from the early stages of what we do at Elevate Lives. In this process, people are taught to engage with others and help them. And so with that, that's going to be a natural process for the rest of their life. And then, of course, gratitude is a big deal in the midst of this. Let me just finish my part with this. Let me tell you a quick story of Kyler. Kyler, just in the last year and a half or so ago, has come into our program. And prior to that, in a little video that he's done of his life, he shared with us that prior to coming to Springfield, he was the father of a 5-year-old daughter. And his life really, at age 12, his parents had taught him how to do drugs, and his life had gotten messed up. And he said that he really knew internally that he wasn't the father that he really wanted to be. And it culminated in such frustration that he tried to take his life about 2 years ago. And in the process of that, he says that, but God had other plans. And we're grateful that he wasn't successful in that. But living in Arkansas, he placed his daughter in the care of his father-in-law, and he made his way here to Springfield and ended up in one of our homes, more of a group setting. It's kind of a entry-level sober living type situation, and began the process of learning how to do life and having people around him that cared and walked with him. Through this process, he became a house leader and various other things, and now runs one of our crews for the remodeling of homes and disciples other individuals that come in and are working. He has gotten his own home through Elevate Lives, and this last January began to have visitation of his daughter a couple times a month. And that reunification was amazing. And by summer, when school ended, his daughter came to live with him for the summer. Oh, and I forgot to mention, this doesn't happen all the time, but it does happen at times. He met a gal about his same age that also was in Elevate Lives a year ago. And they fell in love, and through counseling and various things, ended up getting married. And so both of them moved into a larger home of Elevate Lives a couple months ago, and now as a family are implementing these things and living really a thriving life and growing significantly. And so that's kind of the story of what we do, and we're excited about that. And so I just I don't know if there's any questions or anything, and so I'm open, as long as they're not too difficult, to answer any questions. anyways,
Gotcha. So one of the questions from the group was, how can I help Elevate Lives? Can they get involved or make donations? What
Yes.
can people do to help you guys?
Yeah. So there's a couple primary things right now that you can do. Go to elevatelives.org. I think, right there at the bottom of that. If you go to that, donations are really, it's like oxygen in the room for us. It helps us to do what we're doing. And so financial donations, but also on that website, there's a page that you can sign up to volunteer. And so there's various things you can volunteer with.
Another question, of the houses that have been rebuilt or redone, how have you seen the significance of the neighborhood improve with that?
So there can be various things that take place, but what we have found that in each of the neighborhoods or blocks that we renovate a home, there tends to be an increased engagement with neighbors. Other homes start getting renovated. We've seen people start to sweep their sidewalk, all kinds of things like that. And so we feel like we have in some way, even though this wasn't our primary focus at first, now it's an important part, we help revitalize these neighborhoods and blocks in specific.
All right. Well, we are right out of time. I'm going to knock a window off the painting off the wall, but I wanted to come in and just shake your hand and just
Thank you.
Just say how great work you do, how much we know that you make a positive impact to Greene County, and thank you for coming and sharing your story with all of the people of Greene County on our huddle today. So we will see you in a week. Bye-bye.
Thank you.